I've spent a lifetime doing this work. I read clairvoyantly. I could read everybody in this room and they'd go home with a really good piece of information. And I'm sensitive and I see very deeply. And what I see after a lifetime of putting stuff in the vortex is that when is my moment? When is my moment? If you want to take this from the general to the personal, okay. It's not here. It's not coming. And the stuff in the vortex isn't there. And I'm living misery, and I have been for a long time, ever since I really practiced my art. Becoming more sensitive is part curse.
Well, your perspective is valid, and we would not for a moment try to talk you out of it. But we do feel, in all that you have said here, that your desire is different than the reality that you are describing. And that as long as that desire is pulsing within you, and it is, that we will continue to give our undivided, whether you believe it or not or even care or not, we will continue to give our undivided attention to that. And we want to say to you that you represent not necessarily large numbers of people, but you represent in your discourse here the perspective of humans that believes that they are not the creator of their own reality, that they have no creative control. And we want to say clearly to you that you do create your own reality, that you are creating your own reality, and that everyone is not having the experience that you have described. In fact, the majority of the people who are here in this room do not resonate with what you're saying at all. They are eager to allow this conversation because they all know people who feel a bit like you're feeling. But they don't feel this way.
Well, if I was the creator of my reality...
Since you are the creator of your reality...
Many people are creating their realities.
Every person is creating their reality.
On an energy level, yes.
Vibrationally.
Vibrationally,
and
yes.
And often unknown to them.
Physically, people insert into others' experiences. I do not believe for a minute every one of the 6 million Jews that spent 20 minutes screaming themselves to death in a gas chamber was an attraction or created that experience. Nor any of the other genocides, Rwanda, any of them. I mean, even if in the most simplistic...
Here's the most significant thing that we want to say to you. It is not important to us what you believe, because what you believe is yours to believe. It is important to us what we know to be. It is important to us that we know what we know. So we have discovered that by knowing what we know, our life is one of joy. And you've discovered that by knowing what you know, your life is one of misery. We just want to explain to you that there are choices. We don't disagree with you that most people don't know those choices. We don't disagree with you that momentum happens and people focus upon the reality around them. We don't disagree with you that people push against a lot of things. We do not disagree with you that there are people that are evil in intent, that find ways of putting people in precarious positions. But we will never agree with you that the world is without the ability to create its own reality.
No, we will never... I'm not saying that. I'm saying if you're in a situation that is out of control because other people have their own positions of power...
Out of control because vibrational momentum has caused it to be that. I want to ask this audience for a moment, are you all right for a little more discussion? So they're enjoying the discussion.
Thank goodness, because I know this is an unpopular question.
It's all right.
I've taken 2 years to come here, and I've had this conversation with you on the astral many times. And last time I tried to come here, it was no, and this time it was yes, so here I am. What I'm trying to say is that people create a physical reality in big institutions, big pharmaceutical companies, big insurance companies, big banking, and we are caught up in that, whether we like it or not. We are born into a system in whatever country it is.
We agree that the systems surround you, but we do not agree that you have to be bound by your perspective of them. And what we've been wanting to help people with recently is to unravel the specifics by getting more general. And people are beginning to discover, someone who feels as strongly as you do from your perspective would say, well, you're just teaching them to put their head in the sand, that ignorance is bliss. And we would say, head in the sand is good if the alternative is focused upon something that will cause an attraction of unwanted, and ignorance is bliss if attention to the unwanted causes you to practice a vibration that causes a point of attraction that gets you more of what you do not want. So we do not disagree with anything that you're saying. We just, as Esther began receiving us in the early days, all those years ago, she did not have a religious background. She did not have a philosophical background. She was, for the most part, just living life happily ever after. So, and Jerry had endless questions. It would not have been unlike Jerry to have presented a question much like the one you've presented in those early days, because he was always riding in on his white horse with his white hat, trying to right the wrongs of the world, and felt great frustration that there were those who were not cooperating with that intent. And as we began interacting with the two of them, Jerry must have asked thousands of times about one thing or another, and our answer was, that's not your work. And then he'd come at us again, and we'd say, that's not your work. And then he'd come at us again, and we'd say, that's not your work. Until about 4 months in, he said, Abraham, what is my work? What is my work? And we said, your work is to shine a spotlight on the well-being of this planet. Your work is to shine a spotlight upon what is wanted, to practice what is wanted with such profound attention that it reverberates in your being so that it becomes your chronic point of attraction. That is your work.
And that's what you are doing. And my question to you is, why now? I mean, if you're in non-physical, where there's no time, no space, you could be anywhere along our time track. You could be with any different species.
That's a misunderstanding. That's a misunderstanding, because we are here with you where there is time and space. We are 11 minutes over time. There's that much time and space going on. We are here with you in your time and space. Non-physical energies are here with you. They are here with you. And that is the reason that you feel such discord, because there is so much available non-physical information and non-physical support and guidance. And when humanity, a piece of it as small as one individual, or a larger group like 6,000 people in the gas chambers, are focused in such ways that they deprive themselves of that well-being, it makes for a big and very unpleasant and, from our point of view, unnecessary event.
Okay, so as you survey the people of this planet, how many of them do you see living the contrast, and how many of them do you see living the joy that they've created?
100% of them are living some point of contrast, and about 5% of them are chronically conscious and aware of their vibration enough that they're guiding themselves mostly to joy. And we would put Esther in that 5%, and she had a kidney stone. So we're not saying she is always there, but we are saying she is chronically enough there that by Earth standards, she's a joyful being, and there are many of you who are that way, you see. Your pessimism is accurate, but you have focused it into being. So you're accurate in the fact that you have found it, but you're not looking broad enough, you see. You're not looking broad enough. And if you were to look broader, you would begin to see some of what we see.
I do.
And when you catch a glimpse of it and begin to focus there, then your world must reflect to you in a different way. You are creating the world through the vibration of your point of view.
No argument with that. The thing that I think you're missing is that we live out there. And out there, if 95% of them are experiencing, quote, the contrast, which I would describe more as the misery.
Oh, well, the contrast that we were referring to was difference. The contrast is variety, not misery.
But most of the people are living miserable lives for the most part.
But you see, you don't have access to other than that when you feel the way you feel. In other words, you don't feel, you can't attract otherwise. That's what's so interesting about law of attraction. When you make up your mind about something, it becomes your vibrational offering. And when it's your vibrational offering, law of attraction says, here's more evidence, here's more evidence, here's more evidence, here's more evidence.
Until you run into somebody out there.
Until you croak, and then you find all that you've put in the vortex, and then you understand, and then you become a chorus or a voice with the likes of Abraham in order to explain that there was a misunderstanding. Law of attraction proved its point to you.
I can do that, and I've done that. I'm saying I've done a lifetime of this, and at this moment, maybe because I'm just in divorce and a little bitter, I don't know, but at this moment, I'm doing an assessment. It's time to do an assessment.
We want to say to you, and we mean this as much as we have ever been able to convey it to another, we have enjoyed this interaction immensely. It is deeply satisfying to us to hear someone with strong conviction. And we want to say to you that you're not wrong in your perspective, and law of attraction will prove you right. We just want to ask the simple question, is this what you want to be proven as right? Because it is not the work that we are upon, and we do not believe it is the work you are upon either. Because if it were, you would be taking joy in this perspective, and you are not. Good time for a segment of refreshment.